that is it. That is it. Wow. Can I flip this? Oh, I can. Excellent. It saves me a bit of hassle. Oh, okay. Done. As much as one can be done. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's nice to have recorded and be able to capture the finishing of this, but it does nothing in the effort to capture just how profound this fucking jigsaw has been. Let's see here. What a journey, man. Like, beautiful, to be honest, and profound and completely batshit insane. And I'm going to explain why that is in a way that I feel inspired to do, that previously I've wanted to attempt to express to people. It was actually the subject of the potential talk I was going to do at a upcoming bush party. So I thought that this is the epitome, as far as I'm concerned, of trying to express my point. And so I'm going to do it with this in front of me in order to maintain focus. So, yeah, it's a jigsaw. Big whoop, right? But this is the thing. I have to kind of like work backwards now, which is kind of funny. But like I don't know. Anyone that has enough time, emotional capacity, or just literally just find themselves so bored that they continue to read my posts, will know that I have been on a bit of a journey, and yeah, that has been spanning, well, how can you really say when it started? Did it start when I was born? Did it start when I woke up? Doesn't matter, really. Let's say that the element, for the most part, I would say that this resembles or symbolizes this year so far. Oh man, this sounds so better in my head, but fuck it. Okay. The reason I even have this jigsaw, there's the box, is because this year, the start of this year, I started this year as an absolute shell of a man. And I didn't realize, I only realize now after the fact, that shell was not a shell due to, let's say, recent developments in my life, but something a lot more long-standing and a lot deeper. Let's say that also this long-standing and deeper blockage might have definitely did have a lot of responsibility or accountability for a lot of the things that I was struggling with in life, and a lot of the things that I couldn't make work. And I couldn't understand why that was, because in my mind, I thought that I was doing everything right, as I had concluded based on meticulous research and investment in psychology and philosophy, and spending so much time and energy trying to figure out what's the right way to live. Let me just double check the time here. Okay, we've got time. Now, in the midst or in the wake of an intensely painful and confusing and novel, let's fucking put that back on my face, novel experience, yeah, I was a bit fucking lost and confused and hurting a lot. And how much detail do I want to go into here? Let's just say that the pain that I've experienced as a result of this experience was not new, despite the experience being new. And what that told me was that this is something deeper than what's going on right now. This is something that has been going on for a long time. I managed to pick up on this because in the wake of this moment in my life, I had started to pick up old coping mechanisms that I hadn't been doing in a long time. And sudden shifts in behavior like that command my attention and inquiry as to why the fuck am I doing this? I haven't done this in years. So I identified a coping mechanism. I forced myself to stop it. And when you don't cope, you don't cope. So the feeling kind of just builds. And it built and it built. And I realized that it was a feeling that I had been denying myself out of shame or guilt, all of the above, really. And I realized that, yeah, there was some stuff going on behind the scenes that I had managed in my youth to lie to myself about well enough to actually believe it, and then carried that into my life. And so when I realized that this pain was occurring, and now I'm 24, I'm not 15 or 14 anymore. Those coping mechanisms are no longer healthy or even relevant to my life. I just don't want to live that way. You kind of, in an adult conscious perspective, given the opportunity to go, okay, well, how do I want to approach this now? And that really started this journey of I guess a deeper level of introspection with a new perspective. Anyway, that's context before I've even started. I kept that down to 7 minutes and 48 seconds. I'm proud of myself for that. Earlier this year, I had in what was my first romantic relationship, began to experience for the first time in my waking, conscious, remembered life, the experience of intimacy. And obviously being alone again, I'm like, well, fuck, I want that, I'm curious. Because it's not every day that you experience a brand new sensation. Yeah, okay, I can eat a new food, I can taste something different, but it's not like I'm tasting something for the first time, you know what I mean? That kind of level of the felt experience of what it means to be intimate with another person. And I started to lust for that. And lo and behold, probably 2 or 3 months into the grieving process of losing a loved one, I met someone else. And it's strange because towards the end of my relationship, I started to realize that I had been self-sabotaging in the way of denying myself my own desires because I saw myself as either lesser than them, i.e. not worth them, that I didn't deserve them, or it's just unrealistic, it's never going to happen, don't even bother getting your hopes up. And I'd lived that way my entire life. And I didn't want to live that way anymore. So I resolved to change that. And so when I met this person and experienced, well, it wasn't immediate, but I kind of noticed, I was like, I've been thinking about this person every day this week. And then we caught up, and I'm like, continuing to think about this person. And then just clearly something's going on, right? And so thought, okay, if I continue to build a relationship with this person and get contextual, start a friendship, it's going to be a lot harder for me to go from a friendship to something different rather than just throw myself in the deep end. And so that's what I did. And I told this person how I felt. And if that in itself was an achievement, because one of my traumatic internalized beliefs was that it was wrong. It is the belief is that it is wrong for me to express attraction to a woman because that will lead to me being hurt or them being hurt. So in order to save myself and them from that, I just don't do it. And I just push it down. And yeah, no, fuck that. So I expressed myself in a way that, like, you know, polite, I believe. They just basically said the words, you know, I find you attractive. And yeah, I was immensely proud of myself for that. And then I experienced, for the first time, or in a long time, I have experienced this once before, infatuation. And the obsessive tendencies that follow being in that state. And that place is, I believe, I've come to believe, in essence, a relentless pursuit of something that goes beyond desire. It's almost like the potential for a need that is unmet to be met. And it gives you this extra fire, this extra fuel. But the thing is that I hadn't experienced that in a very long time. And even back when I first did, when I was like 20, maybe even 19, I don't know what the fuck was going on. I was still scared, you know, and I didn't act on it in the way that I would now. I probably wasn't conscious enough to even consider the way I was doing that. So for the first time, in my opinion, and the way I perceive things, you know, I was given the opportunity to go, okay, you want something, go get it. And that in itself was novel for me, you know, like, because I'd never allowed myself to want things. And so to allow myself, I just off to the races, you know, just... I remember one time writing something. I wrote a lot during this time. I was experiencing passion. And I wrote, no one ever talks about, I mean, everyone always talks about the feeling of what it's like to have a cup that is empty. But no one, at least as far as I've seen, talks about what it's like to have a cup that is overflowing. Because that's a whole other kind of pain. You know, like, it sounds great on paper. Oh, would it be so nice to just be like constantly full of love? But the thing is, it's not a stable love. It's not a grounded love. It's not even love in itself. It's a lusting for intimacy. It's a lusting for a need that's being unmet, you know, and that's not present. You know, that's somewhere within here that's going, oh my God, man, we've been looking for this forever, and now there's the opportunity to get it. Let's fucking go. And I'm like, hold on a second, man. Like, I've got bills to pay. I've got a job to work. Like, I can't be thinking about this all the time, or like every day. But I don't have the choice. That's infatuation. It's like a parasite, you know, which is a horrible way to describe someone that you find attractive, and I don't. But, you know, the experience is the parasite. And so I push myself, you know, and I don't feel any disappointment or shame in doing so, because everyone wants something to love, you know, and I am no exception. And yeah, I wanted that, and I wanted to know what it's like to want something fully, totally. Like, sure, this experience is consuming me, but if I stop now, will this ever happen again? Would the opportunity come again? Like, it's here now. Grab it now. Why wait? You know, why half-ass something? You know? And so I didn't. And I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And, you know, all the while, like, I'm pouring, like, everything, because it's just coming out of me. I've got nowhere else to put it, you know? Other than like poetry and stories, and in a meager attempt to explain the magnificence of what the fuck is going on, you know? Because how the hell can you? Like, it doesn't stop. You can't, you take a second to write something and something else comes up, and it's just, anyway. The thing is, at this time, you know, and especially in the wake of, you know, a separation, I was looking to return to myself, and I've been telling myself that the solution to that experience of being a stranger to myself was to go to the UK and to be with a part of myself that I do genuinely feel is still there. And I thought, you know, oh, I'm free to do what I want. I can go and just, you know, be in my home country with my, you know, my people, and be with my family, you know, and experience another side of myself that I have been estranged from for 15 years now. And I told myself that that was what I was going to do. And in essence, what I was doing was going, you're going to be happy once you get there. You know, you're not happy now, but you will be. And just work towards this goal. And I've been doing that for those 3 months and made very little progress. I had saved probably about $2,000, and I maintained that. And so I'm still in this place of being dissatisfied and estranged from myself, while slowly returning. And I just didn't really see anything keeping me here now. I was like, you know, the call to go is stronger than any call to stay, until I met this girl. And then I'm like, well, now I want to know where this goes. So I guess I'll stay. And so I'd save all this money, and I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, well, okay. If for, you know, some point in the future I were to, say, have this person come back to my house, I look around in my room and it's just blank white walls, plain bed sheets, not a single speck of me, let's say. And I'm like, fuck, I don't really want to bring someone here. And then I'm like, fuck, that's got to change. So I went out and spent all that money at IKEA and created a space within which I believed that someone would feel comfortable. Now, the thing is, while on the surface I did this for someone else, I really gave it to myself, because I don't know what kind of space someone else likes. I can't know that. I'm not a mind reader, man. You know, but I know what that would be like for me. I have senses and tastes and, you know, things that I enjoy, things that mean things to me, colors that, you know, make me feel certain ways. And so, starting with the tapestry, you know, I kind of, yeah, I put something together. And I had no idea what that would do. And look, this is all on topic with the jigsaw. I'll get there, okay? I understand it's almost been 20 minutes. I'm sorry. I created this space. And then I just... I lived in that space now, and I just waited for the opportunity to bring that person there. And I started to realize, like, wow, in the meantime, I guess I can enjoy this. And lo and behold, I came to realize, like, wait, I've made this for me. Like, I don't know what else is going to like, but I know what I like. And this is that. And so... Oh, fucking... All right. I'm very proud of it, okay? It's very dark right now because I've just recovered from a migraine, but I have just cleaned it. Pictures of it, I'm sure, but this is it. I started with this tapestry, which I've had for years. And I was like, all right, this is the color scheme. I got bed sheets. I got throw blanket. I got pillows. I got fucking, you know, this is originally meant to be a terrarium, but, you know, whatever. Paintings, whatever. Look, it feels nice to be in here. You know, I get my lights on. The lights going the right way. It's got the right tones. It's got the right smells. I got my fucking incense burner. And then that was one thing. And then I had these photos, and I'm like, these are photos from Doof, or some of them. This is from Fireworld 2018. God, I'm just giving you a room tour now. I'm sorry, guys. Photos of me. Photos of my street in the UK from 2004. Anyway, so the thing is, and I'm going to explain this as a little side note because it is a very, very important and powerful tool. Creating a space in which you feel comfortable is extremely important. And I didn't know that because I've lived a life where I've moved around a lot. I've lived in I've moved over 20 times, put it that way. Moving from the UK, then moving into rental, building house, and split. My parents split, so we've got 2 separate houses, and I'm moving there every fucking week. And then it's no consistency, no setting of roots. So, I never understood the importance of that until now. I create the space, and I start to feel comfortable, and then I start to feel comfortable. I don't really know how to. I guess this is beginning to touch on the bigger picture, because it's a jigsaw, haha. Bigger picture of why I'm making this, and I'm making this for me as much as I'm making it for everyone else. Is that when you start to feel comfortable, you start like noticing that I felt comfortable was like a peek in the door of just like, all right, what's going on in here? You know, like I'd been going through this immense, passionate, what I would fundamentally consider to be a reintroduction to deep feeling and sensitivity, sensuality, sense. We came to my senses. And the initial stage was, okay, I feel comfortable here and I feel comfortable to open up. And then those photos are important because that was the next step. I put those photos up because I just have them. And I was like, well, they're not doing any good sitting in a fucking photo album. So I put them up. And then I started to realize, I was like, when I look at that photo of my street in the UK, where I lived for my childhood, as much as I can remember, and it's covered in snow, which brings back memories, and it's a photo which brings back memories in itself. And all of a sudden I start to feel nostalgia, and I start to feel, oh man, I really need to go back, and I start to think about, that part of my life that's missing, or like, my connection to my homeland, and the fact that I feel estranged, and this part of my journey that one day I will take up the mantle and go. And all of a sudden I realized, like, I've just been looking at this photo, I've started thinking about all these different things and feeling all these different things, and I've got pictures of me smiling at a Buschdorf, I've got pictures of me dressed up as for Halloween as a kid, and it makes me think of like family, or, and I realized, like, my environment, I've lived in this box, and it's been boring as hell. It's just empty because I've been afraid to express myself. I know that sounds so ironic now because I don't shut the fuck up on Facebook. Here I am recording a video for Facebook. But now you know why I do it. I started to... Your environment, especially one that you feel comfortable in, your home environment, is a reflection of who you are, And I started with allowing myself to feel comfortable by creating a space in which I feel comfortable. Then it started to actually realize the nature of what I'd been doing, which is that, manipulating my environment manipulates how I feel, and I had done that passively by creating this space for a girl that I'd met. I hate using the word girl. Love interest. I don't know what to call it. It feels somewhat derogatory. Woman. Let's say woman. Pardon me. Time check. Yep, we're good. So those photos became an attempt to do that consciously. And that whiteboard that you might have seen is another attempt. It's, okay, well, if my environment manipulates my feelings, then if I if I am conscious about how I do that, then maybe I can manipulate myself the way that I want. Maybe I can put things up or around that elicit a certain response. Nostalgia being one, joy, pleasure, remembrance of a moment in life. And now we see where the jigsaw comes in. So, this jigsaw, or this painting, let's say, by Klimt, is called The Kiss. And it's that woman's favorite painting, fuck's sake. And I'm an appreciator of art. I enjoy it. I think it's beautiful that emotion human experience can be conveyed just by the pure experience of sensual reception, like looking at it. What does it make you feel? It's fantastic. That's a very, very, very terrible, to be honest. I did not do any justice to the concept of art in that, but phenomenon of art in that. And anyway, let's get on to the actual brass tacks here. I saw this jigsaw in an op shop for $5. I thought, fuck yeah, I like art. It's also the favorite painting of this person that I like. So yeah, I should get it. And this is where it takes on a bit more of a esoteric kind of tone, where the process of putting this jigsaw together has really been a symbol, and that's why I got it, is a symbol for this journey that I've been on. I'll explain. This is a jigsaw or a painting of two people, and they're in a loving embrace. You've got, presumably, a man and a woman, and the man is kissing the woman, and she seems to be enjoying it. In a sense of a loving embrace is almost like a form of surrender, and when I see this, could be interpreted as, oh, Tom, you have a love interest, boy and girl. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, true. That's the surface level. But then it goes a level deeper. And realistically, with this whole experience of trying to pursue a love interest, the experience that I wanted was to have the intimacy that I was seeking and to experience, loving connection and blah, 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 blah. That was what I wanted. But the experience that I got was the experience that I needed. See, what we touched on with the room thing is that I began to form a connection with myself. And the thing with relationships is I've come to understand them after one, is that, and I love this quote and I hear it all the time reverberating in my head. You can only love as deeply as you see yourself. And I was not willing to look at myself. And so I was incapable of being in a healthy, functioning relationship in a way that is grounded and present and all that stuff. Okay? That has been a bitter pill to swallow, considering that I spent so much time training myself to be the person that I thought I needed to be in order to make someone else happy. But that's not really why you're in a relationship. So what's actually happened here is that through attempting to love this person, I have watched myself try to love something. And through watching myself try to love something, I realize the way that I am when I try to love, which means that I understand what I am going through or who I am or what I am when I am loving. Okay? And, what does that mean? What does that look like? That looks like fucking putting out candles on a table, or creating a space for someone because you want them to feel comfortable, or, acts of service, whatever it is. And that's when you start to think, okay, I'm willing to give these parts of myself to someone else, but why don't I give them to myself? And then we start to really hit the nail on the head here and go like, oh, okay. So if we look at this again, this isn't boy and girl. This is boy and same boy. That could have been expressed so much better. It's me. Through trying to love someone else, I've come to understand how to love myself, which is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it is a beautiful thing. Like, I can't express, because no one else will ever be able to understand the beauty of that other than I, because I'm the one living it now. It's wonderful, like, to really summarize the experience, I feel like I've been cracked open, and I know there's a few people around me in my circles these days that feel the same way and have been somewhat violently, in a sense of how it feels, because it does kind of hurt a bit to be cracked open in that way and to experience what I believe has been the heart opening. It's I wish I could explain it, I really do. I'm trying so hard, but I feel like I've come to meet myself, and embrace myself, and to love myself, genuinely. And from that place, like, true loving is possible, because, and this is where I've landed now, is that there is no the one, like, there is no other person that's going to come into your life and go, oh, finally I feel complete. No, man, because that's your responsibility. You're the one feeling that way. You create the feeling. Like, it's not the person, it's your relationship to them, right? And the thing is your relationship to that person relies solely on how you relate to yourself. And this is the thing that I've been picking up with each person that I've come across ever since the start of this journey. Every moment of, like, possibility, or even just a fleeting experience of intimacy or whatever, is, anything that I didn't have that they presented to me, I took for myself, and I learnt to give it to myself, because to not do that is just codependency, right? And look, there may be some things, that we just can't give to ourselves, but those things aren't fully necessary, I don't believe. Everything that we need we are capable of giving to ourselves. The thing is, and this is where I believe the concept of the one came from, is that, sometimes we just don't know how to do it until someone else does it for us. And then the responsibility and the onus is on us to go, oh, so that's how you do it. All right, let me give this a go. And then you can have a healthy and flourishing relationship, because the pressure is no longer on that person to fulfill something within you. You can do it yourself. It's lovely when they do that, but it's a blessing, It's not an obligation, and it shouldn't be, in my opinion. Okay, before I fucking get people attacking me like, I've been married to this person for 60 years and I never once, blah, 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 blah. Look, this is how I am going through life, okay? Like, I can't, and look, if you disagree, go for it, man. If it works for you, fantastic. But I feel fucking great, and this is why. So, where are we at? Okay, if you've seen my stories with the jigsaw, I want to go now into the deeper symbolism of the journey. Now, you might have noticed some pieces missing. Typical op shop buy, right? And a few people have said to me, oh man, if I had a jigsaw, I had no pieces missing, I wouldn't even fucking bother. If you've seen my story today, you would have seen, just because something is missing pieces doesn't mean it's not worth A, the effort, and B, our love, And the thing is that I am on a journey, and just because now I have gained the capacity to love myself doesn't mean the journey's over. A chapter might have ended, and it probably has, and it feels that way, having put that last piece in. It does. It really does. Like, it feels like an encapsulation of this transmutation, of this metamorphosis, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, this change that I've been going through. The thing is, these pieces missing, what do they represent? To me, they represent the fact that there's just some things I don't know. And that's okay. Because I don't know these things doesn't mean that I'm lesser or, subordinate or, inferior in any way. There's plenty of things that we don't know. And maybe these pieces aren't meant to be filled, Maybe if I had the whole picture, then life would be a little bit more boring. So the way I see it, the fact that there's pieces missing, it means, yeah, of course I'm going to keep going, because maybe I might find them one day. Maybe I won't. The mystery is the motivator. Another thing, I've done a lot of jigsaws in my time. It's been a big thing in my family growing up. And this has by far been the hardest one. I've never done a jigsaw where I've had to do the outside last. Like, usually it's like put the perimeter together and go in, That's for me. But no, the last piece was the outside, man. Like, the whole thing has been very confusing and confronting for me, because everything that I thought I knew about putting together a jigsaw was wrong. You see what I mean? Like, the symbolism here is just like, boom, in your face. And this is why it sounds so esoteric, because yeah, it's just a coincidence. You're putting pieces together. Yes, I fucking literally am. But the thing is that we as humans are meaning-making machines, and if I hadn't done that, if I had just gone, oh, it's just a jigsaw, I'm just doing this because it's this girl's favorite jigsaw and I want her to, I don't know. And sentimentality, man. Like, this is where it comes from, right? Like, I've given this the meaning. I've given this jigsaw, this puzzle, every piece of emotive capacity, every ability that it possesses to manipulate how I feel, and it, every step of this way. Now, because what I plan to do is I'm going to get this fucking framed, and I'm going to put it up on my wall, right? And so every time I look at it, I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's a physical labor of love. I put myself through that because I wanted to create a symbol to express this journey that I've been on, to express how important it was for me to meet this person. And that even though we're not together or we didn't even share the experience that I wanted, doesn't mean that I don't value them any less. Like, if anything, I got the experience that I needed, that I didn't even know that I needed. Like, that's beautiful. It's fantastic, And I cherish that, and therefore I cherish them, And that doesn't mean... I'm getting into something different, but, it doesn't mean that their value is based purely on the fact that they've had this experience, right? Like, their value is total in itself. But that's a side note. That's a point that's not necessarily relevant here. Yeah, like, the process of putting this jigsaw together, man. Like, look at this texture. What the fuck is this? Like, you've got no hints, man. Like, even if it doesn't even look like it goes together. You just have to feel it. Man. So fucking... I'm getting riled up just by, like, going through this, which is why I knew I would, because, like, listening to yourself talk is one of the most important forms of understanding how you feel. That's another hint. And so, like, it's literally been... I had to separate all the pieces into, like, shape and then size and then trial and error, every single fucking one. There were days where I'd sit here for hours and only put 2 pieces down. And that speaks to the level of commitment and persistence and dedication that I put into not just the jigsaw, but to the experience, I didn't want to give up because it was painful, because what if it never happens again? What if this is the only opportunity that I get? What if I want to be the kind of person that stays true to how they feel. And so that was an opportunity to do that, and I did it. And I'm proud of myself for that. So, like, the process of putting this thing together, it just spoke volumes to the nature of the experience that I had, and the irony, or, if you want to call it a synchronicity or a coincidence, whatever you want to call it, just the fact that I was in an op shop one day, saw this jigsaw, decided to buy it, and then had the experience again, but through a symbol, is just wondrous. It's fantastic. And like, life can be this rich, and this is the point of the talk that I wanted to give, is that the beauty of life exists within the stories that we tell ourselves. And we as humans interface with reality through story. We see, I'm looking at my phone and I know it's a phone. I know I'm recording a video and I know what I'm going to do with it. And this is a story in my head. It's not happened yet, but it will. And I know what's going to happen going forward. And this is how we ascertain certainty. It's how we create security within the world. And it's how we, maintain composure in spite of the monstrous amount of chaos that is going on all the fucking time. So think about what I did with my room. I noticed something subconsciously, or that I did subconsciously, and I wonder if I can do that consciously. I wonder if I can make the effort to have that impact on my life. And it did. And the same thing goes here. Like, we can tell ourselves the stories of our lives. And we do. You can choose. And I understand that it's not so simple as choosing. I know that. I've lived that. But if you notice trends, if you watch yourself, if you live your life in a way where you watch yourself and wonder about what the fuck is going on? Who the fuck is this? What am I doing? What are my patterns? It starts from insecurity where you're just like, why do I always make this shitty ass joke and make everyone look at me weird? What is it that causes that? And then you start to dive deep into yourself and go like, oh, maybe I'm trying to lighten the mood because I'm afraid that people don't want me around. Why do I feel that way? Well, I had these experiences when I was a kid, blah, 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 blah. You keep going and you get to the root of it and you go, okay, well, how do I disprove that? Okay. I think that, or I feel that, I believe that people don't tend to like me. Let me ask my friends how they feel about me. Wow, all of a sudden I'm experiencing this outpouring of love. That goes against what I believe. You keep putting yourself in those positions. Maybe it's not an expression. Maybe it's a moment. It's an experience. Experiment with yourself. I noticed this thing. I noticed this thing that I want to change. Or something that about me that, and this is a fucking slippery slope here, guys. Like, be warned. There's a far blurred line here between like dealing with something that genuinely affects you and self-rejection. Some things are to be accepted, some things are to, and some things change when you accept them. Like, it's tricky as fuck, but honestly, I think that the value lies in going through both, and rejecting the parts of yourself that you should accept and accepting the parts of yourself that you should reject and seeing how that plays out in your life and going, got that wrong, hurt some people, hurt myself, but now I know why, instead of, no one is perfect, man. Like, you're gonna hurt yourself, you're gonna hurt other people. It sucks. It really does. I wish I'd lived my life in a way that I never hurt anyone, but the fact of the matter is I've done things completely unconsciously that have completely crushed people. And I hate that. It sucks. I live with it every day, but this is where forgiveness and acceptance comes in, where you're just like, look, I didn't know any better, and I've always tried to do my best, and I never tried to hurt anyone. I know that, that's for me, it's not a justification. It's just a point of relief, of, yeah, this thing happened. I did this thing from this place. And maybe I was ignorant. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I was misguided. And I hurt someone. But never once did I intend to hurt that person. Or any person. That might not help them because they're in pain. Their experience was real. As much as you want to go, but I didn't mean to, blah, 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 blah. To them, it don't matter. To them, it was real. And for you to say, but this, but that, it's just invalidating, and will only push them further into defensiveness and hurt. you know and so this is where accountability comes in. Why am I even talking about this? Stories that we tell ourselves. This is the point. It's something I've learned. Trauma creates stories that create a negative feedback loop. It's a belief about yourself that, I'm not worth love, or if I do love someone, that it's going to hurt them, or, I need to learn how to cook in order to be worth love. It's how do I explain myself? The point that I want to make is that we have this power as a species. It's not just people, man. Like, that we do this as a species. The entire reason that culture exists is because of this. We as a culture experience, as culture is a big story that we tell ourselves. It's us. It's society going, what are we? What are we doing? What is this right now? For instance, a great way that I like to exemplify this is if you were to go on the street right now and pull up a random person, a stranger, and go, hey man, what do you think about climate change? How likely do you think that person is to go, climate change? What the fuck's that? Everyone knows what that is. Climate change is culture right now. And that's what I mean, is like, it's what exists within the subconscious of pretty much the vast majority of people within the world right now. So we have. This is the kind of stuff that I would get into if I was doing a talk, but it's irrelevant to now my jigsaw analogy. So to bring it back, to summarize, we as people have the power to create meaning within our own lives, and within that to create substance. And that substance is momentum. It's getting the ball rolling. It's like, it's getting a sense of what we're capable of and going, okay, I can influence my reality through the story that I'm experiencing because I'm living it, is not exactly concrete. My reality is not exactly as steadfast comes to mind. It's not the right word. As concrete or set in stone, immutable, let's say, as maybe we might believe. Fact of the matter is, it's quite actually malleable. And the more that we open ourselves up, the more we realize that that's the true nature of reality, in that we are actually, everything that we experience is interpreted, and we wear lenses. I wear physical lenses, but all of us have internal lenses through which we perceive reality, and those are the stories. It's, I am this, I am that. This is phone, that is box. I am good, I am bad. Why? Because maybe I'm a vegan and therefore I'm good, and therefore everyone who eats meat is bad. And it's, you're basically creating a story in your mind in which, a vast majority of the population is now attributed to a negative perspective, based on your own criteria. When is that objectively true? Probably not, So, yes, I'm kind of losing my train of thought at this point, and I feel like this is probably the time to wind this down to an end. But, yeah, it's nice for me to have captured this moment and to have expressed exactly what it meant to me, and hopefully what the nature or the essential journey, the chapter of my life, what I've learnt and what I've experienced and what I've realized about the world and me, and those two things being like this, can hopefully translate to some of you guys, I don't know if it will. It probably just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook to most people. But there might be one person out there, maybe two, maybe three, maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe one, maybe none, that hear this and go, worth a shot. You know, and everything is, you know, like if you live a life where you want to see yourself become the best version of yourself, then give everything a crack, you know. Yeah, so what does the future hold now? I know exactly what it holds. That's not for this video though. But it's exciting. It's very exciting. For now, I will let you go with a thank you for watching and paying attention. If you have, or if you haven't, that's fine. Thank you for existing, because this world would not be the way that it is without you. And I really like the way that it is. So, thanks. A huge thank you to that one beautiful person that just sprung up into my life and changed my life in a way that no one could have ever predicted. And yeah, I will never be the same. And it's just gold, man. Like, it's just gold, you know, like, it's just, who knew that life can be this way? And yeah, I hope that everyone's had a wonderful day, and continues to have a wonderful day. I've got to go to work now. I haven't eaten anything today, so that's something I've got to deal with. And yeah, man, I'm terrible at goodbyes. You know, maybe I just don't want to stop talking. The monologue will continue. Don't worry. But yeah, much love, and I mean that. And I'm hoping, and I'm getting the sense that maybe you can feel it too. So yeah, thank you, and goodbye.